Hey kids, Dad here with another update from the Pacific Crest Trail. The last time I spoke with you, spoke to you, was on the 23rd of April. I was at Kenny's place in Big Bear. Kenny's place is a great place to stay for a number of reasons, not just because he cooks you a big breakfast and gives you a nice warm bed to sleep in, but also because there's a lot of people who stay there. And they're just from all over the place. I met a guy from India, small village in India, and he's a veteran of both the Appalachian Trail and the Continental Divide Trail. So this is his third long distance trail in the United States, and he's not even from this country. He goes by the name Gump. Interesting fellow. Also met a man who was a commercial airline pilot who then worked for the FAA, and now he's retired and walking the PCT. And also met a retired Army lieutenant colonel who just retired, and now he's also walking the PCT. And I received a nice visit from Gabrielle on Sunday. That was the 23rd. And so we had a good time, got pizza and some beer, and hung out and had good conversation. So that's a great visit. Then on the 24th, on Monday, got a ride from Kenny back to the trailhead at mile 266 or so, and walked for about 18 miles, camped on a spot on a ridge, and didn't get there till after dark. But I found that I kind of enjoy walking at night by headlamp because it's cooler and you don't sweat as much, and the light is really nice, so you can take nice pictures while you're walking. Then on the next day, the 25th, I went a lot of downhill that day, and fortunately was out of the snow, so no more snow that day. It started getting pretty warm during the day, actually. On that day, I passed the 300-mile mark, which was kind of a kind of a landmark for me. So only 2,350 miles to go. And that day was a long walk down a river gorge, and so not a whole lot of places to camp there. And I didn't find a place to camp that day until well after dark, but I did find a spot, a small spot, just off the trail. And then the next day, on the 26th of April, it was more just walking down the river gorge. That was the day that I went by the hot springs. I don't know what exactly they're called, but there's a little spot right on the trail where this really hot water comes bubbling out of the ground, and it kind of pools up and then goes down into the river, and people swim in it. And I didn't really stick around too much because there's a lot of naked people and just wasn't my scene. But I stopped and had some lunch and took a break. And that day I had three really deep water crossings, and the last one was I was up to my waist, so I had to strip down to my underpants for that one. But I got across it, and then uh, camped about 16 miles in that day. And then the next day, on the 27th, that was a long day. Got a pretty early start and walked about 22 miles to Cajon Pass. And there I met with my friend Eric, who I used to work with when I was in Santa Fe Springs, and met him at the McDonald's there. It's kind of a traditional thing for people to stop at the McDonald's and pig out on junk food. And so I had a lot of calories that in that meal. But I really needed it because I've been losing weight. I think I'm down about 10 pounds since I started this, and I didn't have a whole lot to lose to begin with. So I'm trying to eat as much as I can. And Eric and his wife, Shay, were kind enough to let me stay with them and do some laundry and take a shower, and they gave me a nice soft warm bed to sleep in, which is wonderful. And they have a dog, little dachshund, little wiener dog named Phoebe, and so I got to play with her a little bit. And she didn't like me at first. She was a little bit wary and barked at me quite a bit, but then she warmed up to me after about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or so. So unfortunately, there was a fire that broke out uh, just west of Cajon Pass. So they closed the Pacific Crest Trail for about 20 miles or so between the Cajon Pass and then a place called the Acorn Trail, where the Acorn Trail uh, comes up from Wrightwood, little town of Wrightwood. So this morning, this is the 28th of April, Eric gave me a ride from his house to Wrightwood and up to the trailhead for the Acorn Trail, and it was about a 2.5 mile, pretty steep climb back up to the Pacific Crest Trail. So I'm a little tired, but right now I'm at a camp spot called the Guffey Campground, and it's only about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm thinking about moving on. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to camp here or keep going. It is a beautiful spot, and there's a lot of spots that don't have any snow on the ground. I'll show you a little bit what it looks like. So that's the update for this episode. And as usual, I'm going to leave you with a little video montage of the things that I've been seeing. A lot of beautiful flowers and views and spectacular, spectacular scenery. And before I leave you with that, I want to remind you that I love you and that I miss you and that I'm proud of both of you. And I want to remind you that I know you've heard me talk about how the most precious thing that you own in this life is your access to conscious experience. I believe that is the most important thing. But the second most important thing that you have is each other. So take care of each other. All right. Bye.